If you've been wanting to start a B2B lead generation or cold email agency, I'm going to show you how you can get your first, second, or third client. So this video is going to be geared to getting those first few and relatively difficult clients. Now let's go ahead and get into it. Now to start off with a quick intro, my name is Michael Gardiner and I am a Smartlead partner. Obviously, Smartlead was kind enough to partner with myself to bring you this content, so thank you, Smartlead. Now, I've grown my cold email agency Done For You Meetings to over $1.5 million in rev, and I'm also growing Grow B2B, which is a B2B lead generation training and consulting company. So let's first talk about what a B2B lead generation or cold email agency is. Maybe you've watched a lot of videos from Smartlead, you've already tried their cold email platform, and you say, hey, I want to turn this into a service. I want to help others with cold email. Or any type of B2B lead gen. You could do cold email, you could do LinkedIn, or you could do multi-channel. Maybe you do mail, you do ads, you do LinkedIn and cold email. A B2B lead gen agency is basically exactly what it sounds like. You are helping B2B businesses generate leads either for owners that are operating or their sales team. So again, this video is going to be for how you get your first or first few clients, showing a very beginner friendly method that I've used myself and also lots of people I have consulted with have used. So let's go ahead and get into the method. So now getting to this method, and this is one of the most beginner friendly methods to get your first B2B lead gen client. This is what we call a standardized trial campaign. So one of the biggest problems that you're going to have when getting your first client, and this is not just with a cold email agency, this is with any agency or really any business, is social proof. Logically, why would a business hire you when there's somebody else with more experience? And that makes a lot of sense. So the idea behind this method is to bypass not having those partner accreditations, not having those testimonials, those case studies, those reviews, to show someone that I am confident and competent, even though I have little experience, and giving them a reason to trust you a bit more. So we're putting in the work up front to avoid the awkward conversation of I don't have prior results. So the way we're going to do this is quite unique, and you probably haven't thought of this. So first thing we need to do is decide who we want to sell to. Marketing agencies, maybe you're doing security consultants, maybe it's going to be manufacturers, or even it's going to be accounting firms. You do want to decide on a niche that you're interested in selling with to start. For the remainder of this, let's say that you want to work with marketing agencies that do paid ads or media buying. So that is going to be your niche or your type of business that you work with. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a temporary agency website. So just make up some random agency name, make it sound good, but it doesn't really matter, and set up a very generic marketing agency website to match. You can do this using Wix for pretty much free, or WordPress and use a template. I would probably use WordPress, that's just what I like to use, but either will work. And this is going to be cheap and probably not take you more than 3 to 4 hours to do entirely. Again, basic website, homepage, about, maybe throw a couple of GPT blog posts, just make it look like an agency. Now, we want to go ahead and set up domains and emails for this agency that we own. I would recommend getting around 10 or 20 domains to emails. We don't want to be cheap here because we do want to move fast. Now, when it comes to campaign volume, if you reach out to 10 people a day or 10 people in 10 days, it's still 10 people. So I always prefer to move faster. Now, once you have those domains and emails set up, we want to go ahead and add them to a warm-up pool. And this is just going to be increasing the reputation. So again, do this on Smartlead and use the warm-up for around 2 to 3 weeks. Smartlead has other guides on this if you do want to see. Now, whole idea here is we're going to use these emails to generate leads for your own agency, essentially making yourself your own case study. So we can bypass the, hey, you haven't got results from our marketing agencies by being your own marketing agency and generating those leads for yourself to use as proof to your prospect that you are competent, capable, and able of providing the service that you say you can. Now, step 4, we're going to go ahead and write a cold email script that mentions you already have leads needing a certain service. In this case, ad service. So we're going to write a cold email that says, hey, we have a lot of people that need Facebook ad services, but we're looking for a partner who can take on these leads. This is a really easy hook that's also a bit unique because most people are pitching lead gen. You're saying I already have leads, which is true. Now we want to go ahead and add add 5 to 10 variations of this cold email and then add spin text to each, which you can do with Smartlead. That way you have multiple variations to test out which will work best, and also you have multiple variations so you don't get your copy flagged and potentially sent to the spam box, which would not look very good, especially when you're selling cold email. Step 5, you're going to go ahead and build a list of contacts or prospects, whatever you want to call it, matching your pre-decided ICP. ICP being ideal customer persona. So this should be the people you want to work with. Now we've already defined that we want to work with marketing agencies that do paid advertising, but we then need to define, okay, what titles we want to work with. Probably head of sales, owner for smaller companies, CMOs, head of growth. We need to decide where, US, UK, up to you, and then also the company size. The smaller the company, the easier to get to meetings, but the lower the budget generally, and the larger the company, normally the harder it is to get meetings, but the larger the budget is going to be. Now, I would aim to make my list a minimum of 3,000 prospects. We want to have many opportunities to get a client. By being cheap and getting less than this, you're just prolonging your success. Now, I understand that you might not be able to do that right away, and if so, fine, but if you can, 3,000 minimum, maybe even more. Next, you want to make sure all your leads are verified. Just use any verification tool you prefer to make sure that they're not going to have a high bounce rate. The next step is a pretty obvious one. Go ahead and load your lists, domains, emails, your copy into Smartlead and launch your campaigns. Now, there's going to be some waiting period while we're going to get responses coming in. That's normal. And if you don't get a lead right away, that's also normal. I would make sure you email at least 500 people before you judge your copy too harshly, because I do see often at beginners where they reach out to 100, 200 people, they get disheartened and then they quit. So make sure before you consider changing your copy, reach out to at least 500 people, and also consider that people will respond a day or two later. So 500 people, wait a day or two, and then judge your results. Now, step 7, we're going to take our responses and try to get these people on the phone. Now, this does not mean that if somebody emails you questions or asks for more information, you just push the phone. In fact, you don't want to do that. I see very often where people don't really know how to answer an email, and to make up for that, they say, hey, let me push for a meeting. But by pushing everybody into the meeting bucket, you get a lot of busy people who are kind of turned off and may not be interested. So answer questions fully, explain more information if you need to, but do gently point people either to share their calendar or to book on your calendar. And I do want to get these people on a calendar before I potentially give away a trial or freebie or anything that's of tangible value, because I want them to at least commit some time before I go ahead and commit my time. Now, step 8, on a call, you want to have examples of leads ready. And here you have two options. If a call is going really well and you've already used yourself as a case study saying, look, I've generated these leads, I need someone to send them to, that could be you, here's my pricing, you could just go directly to the pitch. Or option B, which is likely going to be what you're going to do for your first or maybe second too, client, is going to be to offer for them 5 leads for free to test the quality and then support for appointment setting. And in this case, you want to make sure you have an agreement in place and make sure they understand the pricing on what will be after they do decide to work for you. So that's very important that you have that in place before actually moving to this trial. Now, assuming you are going to be running the trial, go ahead and run the trial. Make your best effort here and personalize your script a little bit to match what the client does, but keeping the same website domains and emails. And then hopefully they get some conversations or at least enough trust to move forward with you. Or if you skip that step, great. You're going to go right to the proposal, contract, and logistics. If you need help on contracts and logistics, there's more videos you can check out. Now, here's the fun part. You now have your social proof, you've had your client, and now you get paid. Now, don't be afraid to continue using this method. You could use this method to get more clients in the same industry, just have multiple variety, or different countries, or try this with accounting firms, and then software, and then tech startups. You can replicate this over and over. You can even take your existing marketing agency website and adapt it a little bit, especially if you use a more generic domain name, which could mean a lot of things. You can just repurpose this over and over and over again. And there you have it. That is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to get your first B2B lead gen or cold email client. Thank you again, Smartlead, for partnering on this video. My name is Michael Gardiner, and if you want to see more about what I do, you can check out my YouTube channel linked below, or if you do want to work with me, you can check out my Smartlead partner profile, which will also be in the description. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in another video.